I've seen a lot of posts about the Big Meech concert getting canceled. What I'm not seeing is anybody blaming Rick Ross for this. Nobody is saying, yo, Rick Ross, it's your fault.
Oh my God, you will not believe what happened with Big Meech. He thought he was about to make this absolutely legendary comeback, right? But honey, it did not go down like he expected. He walked straight into a total disaster. And guess who might be behind all of this drama? Rick Ross. At first, it really seemed like Ross had Meech's back, throwing money around, hyping up this massive return.
Already know, car show going down June 7th. Get online right now, get your tickets right now. But for the hustlers, I want y'all to understand, you gotta stop making business personal.
But when it was actually time to show up and deliver, that so-called support disappeared faster than free drinks at a Hollywood party. Meech's big comeback concert, gone, just like that.
Took a picture with Rick Ross. You like a hoe. Put your back against the wall and just slide down.
Cent says he gave the BMF family $5 million legal dollars, so he does not understand where the money went, how Little Meech blew it before Big Meech got out of jail, but he feels extremely betrayed after that picture got taken between Big Meech and Rick Ross after he got out of jail. Now we know Rick Ross has a song where he's like, I think I'm Big Meech. Larry Hoover, and that's the Big Meech that gets portrayed by Little Meech on the TV show BMF Power, produced by 50 Cent.
His $1 million deal with 50 Cent, poof, vanished. And Ross, he's just back to handling his own business like nothing happened. It's absolutely tragic how things for Meech went from bad to worse. Fans are everywhere asking the question we're all thinking. Did Ross deliberately set him up to fail?
And it's ironic, right? I mean, it'd be kind of easy to see why the real Big Meech would like that song by Ross. But if 50 Cent gives your family, you know, $5 million in cash, whether it's through acting, I think he was paying for acting lessons for Lil Meech, you gotta have some appreciation. And you know, before more details unfolded, like $5 million, because people were like, oh, 50 Cent doesn't pay people, he's always suing people. Look how he paid Ghost from Power less than Mary J. Blige on Power Book.
And honestly, can Meech even recover from this complete mess? Let's dive into all the juicy details. When Meech finally stepped out of prison, he probably thought he'd just waltz back into the game like nothing had changed. Talk about a reality check.
But if Little Meech got $5 million and he's nobody except the son of somebody famous, then he definitely could have treaded carefully with this Rick Ross thing. I don't think Rick Ross even gave him $1 million for whatever they did. It was a picture, it was an event. I doubt it was $1 million.
He was about to face the cold, hard truth that the streets had completely shifted, and Meech was going to learn that lesson in the most painful way. One of his first big moves, linking up with Rick Ross, who wasted absolutely no time throwing stacks of cash right in his face. You might be wondering, why would a kingpin like Meech fall for what's basically pocket change when he once ran a multi-million-dollar empire and had this amazing deal with 50 Cent?
What business is business. Yeah, like business is business. A part of me understands a part of that. I do understand that.
Well, they always say there's no permanent friends and enemies in business, just permanent interests.
Yeah, so. Because this is the thing. I understand that 50 got, you know, the ongoing beef with the people and all of that. You understand what I'm saying? But it seems like their transaction is just business.
Well, the shocking truth is that Meech burned through all that money. Now desperate for a fresh start, he was willing to turn his back on 50 Cent for a chance with Ross.
I doubt it was $500,000. I doubt it was $200,000. I think it was $100,000 or less, whatever Big Meech did for Ross, and he sold his relationship with 50 for a $100,000 picture, basically.
And honestly, he was so desperate for cash that he actually expected Lil Meech to show up at his door with stacks of money. But here's the tea. Lil Meech was in the exact same boat as his dad, with money running dry. The entire Meech household was in serious trouble. And Rick Ross, he saw an opening, a way to flip the situation to his own advantage. He played it like he was this knight in shining armor, stepping in to help Meech get back on his feet, especially when 50 Cent was out here going to absolute war with Big Meech.
February 13th, the Big Meech home benefit concert. It's gonna be iconic. Too many names to list, but let me salute some of the legends. Lil Baby, Boss Man D-Lo, 21 Savage, Sexy Red, Ricky Rose.
Now Ross was talking all tough, making it sound like he had Meech's back no matter what happened. But when it actually came down to it, that talk didn't mean a thing. Part of Meech's big rehabilitation plan was supposed to come from a Haitian program hooking him up with serious money. Ross figured the fastest way to make that happen was through a massive benefit concert produced by Exotic Touring and Airing. This wasn't just any show. Ross made sure the event was hyped to the absolute max, promising a star-studded lineup to welcome Meech back in style. But just when it looked like Meech was finally about to catch a break, reality hit like a freight train. Just hours before the concert, the Amarin Bank Arena dropped the bombshell. Due to unforeseen circumstances, tonight's show has been canceled. Refunds will be made at the point of purchase. And just like that, Big Meech's comeback concert vanished into thin air. Fans were in complete shock. Most people instantly suspected 50 Cent was behind it, especially with all the talk about him blackballing Meech and Ross from the industry. Even Whack 100 was convinced 50 pulled the strings on this one. Meanwhile, 50 Cent? Oh, he wasn't about to let Meech breathe for a second. He posted a screenshot of the cancellation announcement, adding his own signature touch. "I had nothing to do with this. Please stop calling my phone. I sincerely hope you have a nice day today. Happy Valentine's Day. I'm stronger than you think I am." And just to twist the knife a little deeper, 50 also shared a video from user Zip with the Drip where they talked about Lil Baby and other big names canceling on the gig. 50 Cent wasn't done yet. He kept the jabs coming in his caption, clowning the whole situation, saying, "The funny stuff is they were saying Lil Baby pulled up on them in a Ferrari truck, pockets full of money, and didn't give them nothing. Lil Baby was 5 when you got indicted. WTF he owe you? 10 Cowan coming soon." And just like that, Big Meech lost the one shot that could have put him back in business. Now people are wondering, how's he dealing with it? What's his next move? But the real question is, what is Rick Ross going to do for him now? Because Ross talked a big game about taking Meech under his wing, putting him back on top and making sure he was straight. But when it all fell apart, surprise, surprise, Ross disappeared. No backup plan, no real support, just silence. When the concert got canceled, Ross dropped a quick 5-second video barely mentioning the situation before moving on to promote his own event. Dude didn't even pretend to care. Even now, Ross is too busy pushing his own projects to worry about what Meech is going through. Fans aren't letting that slide either. They're saying it's straight up cold. Ross started this whole mess by stepping in, playing like he had Meech's back and getting between him and 50 Cent. If Ross had stayed out of it, Meech wouldn't have even needed that concert. He could have just been eating good off the millions 50 was putting in front of him, and honestly, it's not like Meech didn't see this coming. The internet was screaming that Ross wasn't a real friend, so now that things have crashed and burned, it's kind of hard to feel bad for him. Whack 100 wasn't about to let this slide either. He pointed it out plain and simple. He said Big Meech can't go crawling back to 50 now, and honestly, it wouldn't even matter if he tried. 50 Cent already made it crystal clear that there's no season 4 of the BMF series coming. In a now deleted Instagram post, 50 even shared some text messages from Lil Meech where he confronted him over the whole situation. Lil Meech was heated, saying, "They just told me you unfollowed me on Instagram and now you managing Skill ABA with Rocket when I brought him around you first when you didn't have a clue who he was. Now you mad at me when I would take my shirt off my back for you? I can't believe this, man. You act as if I'm your enemy. I've only ever shown you love and loyalty." He went on, keeping it real. "I'm human. I go through my own, but I never switched up on you." Then he even addressed Big Meech's deal with Ross, straight up admitting it was just about survival. "Screw Ross, but he gave my dad some bread so he could pay his bills until our next season starts. This internet shit is throwing me off, man. You know me in real life." But 50? He didn't care at all. His response to Lil Meech was cold as ice. He hit back with, "What next season, little ninja?" And if that wasn't enough, 50 went all in on Meech's money problems. He even took it a step further, mocking the situation by posting a GoFundMe page with the caption, "Help Big Screech pay his $30,000 a month Airbnb. That's one of P cribs. Shout out to Quality Control." At this point, it's safe to say Meech is drowning, financially and in all this drama. But then, out of nowhere, Ross threw out one last bit of hope. He posted on his IG stories saying, "I want to do a real BMF movie, theaters only." Which director? Tony Fuqua or Quentin Tarantino? And he wasn't just talking, he actually mentioned it again in a video clip. So is Ross really about to make this happen, or is this just another empty promise? Big Meech might have thought Ross was about to throw him a lifeline, but let's be real. Was this movie talk even legit, or was it just another way for Ross to keep his name buzzing while Meech kept sinking? Because while Ross was out here playing director, Big Meech was dealing with real problems. The bills weren't stopping, the industry wasn't letting him in, and 50 had officially washed his hands of the situation. And let's not forget, without BMF Season 4, that steady money stream was gone. Meanwhile, Lil Meech was still trying to keep his father's name from getting dragged through the mud. He was out here explaining, defending, and making sure people knew exactly why his dad had to take money from Ross in the first place. But the internet? It wasn't having any of it. Fans were already calling out Ross for being all talk, and now they were looking at Big Meech like, how did you not see this coming? And to make matters worse, Whack 100 wasn't letting up either. He hopped online to double down on what he had already said. Ross wasn't a real friend, 50 was done playing savior, and Big Meech was officially out of options. At this point, the question isn't just whether Big Meech can bounce back, it's how. Because without Ross actually backing him, without 50 even acknowledging him, and with the industry turning its back, the road ahead is looking real lonely. With every door slamming shut, Big Meech was left scrambling for a way to stay afloat. The music industry wasn't rocking with him, 50 had wiped his hands clean, and Ross? Well, he was too busy flexing his new ventures to care. At this point, fans were heated. They had watched Ross hype Meech up, promise him the world, and then vanish when things got tough, and now with the so-called BMF movie talk floating around, people were starting to question if Ross was ever serious about helping Meech, or if he was just using his name for clout. Meanwhile, Lil Meech was doing damage control, trying to convince people that his father wasn't as down bad as everyone was making it seem. But the reality? It was getting harder to deny. Between the canceled concert, the money struggles, and the industry politics, Big Meech was facing a major uphill battle. Whack 100 even took it a step further, saying what a lot of people were already thinking. Meech had burned bridges that he couldn't afford to burn. By turning on 50 and putting his trust in Ross, he had played himself right into a corner with no way out, and now the streets were watching. People wanted to know if Meech had one more move left in him, or if this was the final chapter in his legacy. At this point, fans aren't holding their breath for a comeback. Meech couldn't even keep a concert from falling apart, so how's he supposed to rebuild an empire? And the worst part? He didn't just play himself, he played his entire family. See, when 50 was backing him, he wasn't just looking out for Meech. He put his whole family on payroll, giving them executive producer credits on the BMF series. That show was a steady check, and Meech fumbled it. Now his family's pockets are hurting just as much as his. And honestly, some folks saw this coming from a mile away. If you've been watching BMF, you already know Big Meech was never the most loyal guy. He did whatever it took to get money, even if it meant working with people who had crossed his own. That's the difference between him and 50. 50 stays loyal to his people, Meech stays loyal to the game. But don't expect Meech to take responsibility for any of this. Instead of admitting he messed up, he's putting all the blame on Ross. But here's the real question. Was this all just bad luck, or was Ross really out here playing chess while Meech was just a pawn? What do you think? Can Big Meech bounce back from this, or is he going to make Ross pay for leaving him out in the cold? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more crazy stories. Catch you on the next one.